In this video, I'm going over how to manage your cellular data usage. So on an Android phone, it's actually fairly simple. If you jump into the settings application, you should see a mobile data option. The location of this may vary depending on which device you have. I have an LG Tribute 5, and I can find the option under the networks section of the settings application. So if you jump into mobile data, at the top you'll see a master toggle to turn data on and off. You'll see an option to change your cycle date. So if you're planning to use on the 9th of every month, you can set that. And if you scroll down, you can see all the applications and they're organized by which apps are using the most data. So in my case, speed test is using the most data. If I scroll down, media is using the least amount of data. What's amazing about Android devices is there's a limit mobile data usage option. So if you enable this, you get a pop-up that reads limit data usage. Mobile data will be turned off when specified limit is reached. Data usage is measured by the phone. Carriers may measure usage differently, so consider using a conservative limit. And all this means is carriers may round up when you use data. So if your limit is, let's say, 2 gigs, you may want to set a limit for 1.9 gigs. And then you can set a warning for maybe like 1.8 gigs. So this is how you can easily manage your cellular data usage on an Android device. On iPhones, managing your cellular data usage is slightly more complicated. So if you jump into the settings application and go to cellular, you can see your data usage for your current period. In my case, I've used 319 megabytes of data. Below that, you can see all of your applications, but they're listed alphabetically instead of by which apps are using the most data. So to figure out which apps are using the most of your data, you have to manually scroll through and figure out which ones they are. In my case, it looks like Play Music has used 109 megabytes of data, so that's probably the most out of all of these applications. To be honest, it's kind of a pain. I think Apple's implementation is rather poor. If you go to the bottom, you get a Wi-Fi assist toggle. I strongly encourage you leave this off, as it'll probably burn through even more data without you knowing it. And there's an option to reset your data usage statistics. So all in all, the default data management system on iOS is rather poor, so I suggest you use a third-party application to better manage your data usage. I use an application called Data Widget. I'll leave it linked in this video description if you want to check it out. Basically, it's a super simple application to keep track of your data usage. It gives you a bar graph of how much data you've used each day. It tells you how much data you've used and how much data you have remaining, and it gives you an overall percentage of how much data you used. If you swipe over, you can see how much data you used the previous month, so you know if you need to upgrade your plan or if you can downgrade your plan. I used 88.5% of my data, so I think my plan is perfect for me. If you go into settings, you can change your plan type, when it renews, what your data cap is, what your current usage is. You can turn on and off alerts, and you can enable or disable the daily usage widget. So this application is really nice. If you actually swipe down and go into Control Center, there's a widget that just gives you a quick overview of how much cellular data you've used and how much you have remaining. So this is a super neat application, very helpful, and I definitely recommend getting it to better keep track of how much data you've used. Now, with these third-party applications, there is of course the question of whether or not they're reliable. So to test the accuracy of the data widget application, I reset my data usage for my system settings, and then I went into the data usage application. I set my usage to 0, and I set a data cap at 100 megabytes of data, just to see how the alert system would work and how accurate it was when compared with the system settings. So after that, I spent some time going on social media, using a lot of cellular data, and here's what I found. The data widget application was pretty much spot on. I had 100 megabytes, and you can see in my settings app, it says I have used 100 megabytes of data. If I jump into the data widget application, it's actually reporting I've used 104 megabytes of data. So yes, data usage is absolutely very accurate with the data widget application. Unfortunately, I did not get an alert. No notification appeared that I went over my data allotment. So I don't know about that. But just having the widget easily available will definitely help you manage your cellular data usage on an iPhone. So that wraps up this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, the app will be linked in this video description. Hopefully you are better able to manage your cellular data usage on both Android devices and iPhones. I'm Stetson Doggett. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.